long time ago, when we realized that we weren't really going to make a living, we said, well, let's try and make a legend.
From barflies and gin joints to beautiful people in exclusive nightclubs, to the owners and the staff that witness it all, every bar has a life, and every life has a story.
This is the story of the Cameron House. Bar life here goes far beyond drinking and having fun. It is a sanctuary to the arts community, a source of inspiration, and home to the artists living upstairs.
I mean, this is a lifestyle job. It's not a job I go to and go home from every day and go away from. So people look at me, like my friends and family, and say, how can you still do that?
Red sun burned into the yellow line. I knew it was time.
And the Cameron has been a real bastion of the capital A living life for artistic reasons.
We've uncovered all kinds of tremendous talent just by providing a place for these people to perform in whatever their capacity, art, music, what have you.
It's some sad, lonely by the freight train, slipping on wet steel, rolling back to places I've been. The old steam whistle keeps calling my name again and again.
And kind of the idea of the place was explicitly an art bar, because that was the nature of the neighborhood. And the idea very simply was to have people living upstairs who could set a tone.
My train of thought starts slipping away.
When Herbie bought the building, I bumped into him on the sidewalk at Quain and Spadina one afternoon, and he said, "Look at that bar down there, I'm buying it." And I said, "Save the penthouse for me."
I'm very, very fussy about who lives up there. I mean, you really have to be a special person. It's funny, a guy from a hotel down Queen Street came in a couple weeks ago, and he said, "My name's so-and-so, I own this hotel down there." He goes, "I got people on crack and I can't get rid of them. The city's telling me I can't kick them out." And he goes, "You must have that problem here." And I went, "No, I have never had that problem here." I talk to people, I make them sit down, I tell them the rules, everybody pitches in, everybody's wonderful, everybody watches. It's a big, crazy psycho family up there, and everyone watches out for everyone's back, and we have all different ages and different backgrounds, and it's a neat place.
There's always a drama, and you always get to meet really interesting people, eclectic people, psycho people. It's just like the whole mix.
It's great. I mean, it's a great living room, you know. You never have to clean it up, and you never run out of beer.
A lot of artists will at some point in their life phone me up and say, or just, people will phone me up and say, I'm stuck for a place. Do you have anything? And I'll go, oddly enough, I got a room. And they'll come down to the Cameron and say, well, I'm only staying for 3 months. I just want to make that clear. And I always walk down the hall and smile, because I know they can't leave.
Deanne and Michael have been living at the top of the Cameron for 20 years. Their penthouse is a 5-room flat with a rooftop garden.
Here is the basic studio office, and we're able now to perform downstairs as a working, living performance environment. It's unbeatable. It's mad, I suppose, to rent for 20 years. But in fact, when you give it up, what other place would you ever find that in fact was as vibrant as this?
I think we knew right away we were in a lucky situation. Herbie and Paul and Anne-Marie, the Sannella family, had a fantastic idea of what the Cameron was going to be about. Together they created a kind of art economy where the people who performed downstairs and worked downstairs paid little or no rent. I suppose there was some kind of trade in hours and currency and contribution, but it was all extremely generous.
I guess it depends on your tolerance and what you consider to be a rich life. And I consider my life to be very rich. I'm always around great music, great art, great people. But yeah, sure, there's headaches, but I am more frightened of taking a streetcar to a 9-to-5 job every day, where someone would look at my life and think, wow, how do you do that?
Michael Hollingsworth and I both write at the same time. We both write all night. And so it means that at 3 o'clock in the morning, I get hungry, he gets hungry. It's nice to have a really literate person that you can have supper with at 3 in the morning. I mean, you try that in the neighborhood you live in.
We're so lucky that they walk in that door and come up to me and say, I'd like to do something here.
So this is like, it's not an occupation of artists, it's sort of a home for artists.
And just the attraction to this place for artists or any kind of creative sort of types and people it goes back to my father's generation. He drank here, he was an artist.
It's actually, my mom had her first drink here back when she was around, I guess she was 18. Yeah, years ago.
This is the only place that feels right.
Artists often suffer and bleed for their passion, but for these artists, it is simply life at a price they are willing to pay.
I don't know, I don't have a television, I don't have a car, I don't really miss those things, but I don't really have, look, nobody wants their kid to grow up to be a musician, right?
Mr. Valentine's dead when he's drinking Manhattans, singing a coal miner's tune. In his daddy's tuxedo and Fred Astaire shoes, he's the best looking corpse in the room.
But I love it here. I'm honored to play here, you know? And a lot of people come up to me and give me hell and say, you know, you should do this, and you should talk to this person, you should talk to that person, you should get out there and hustle and say, do you want to be playing at the Cameron House in 20 years? And I don't know, how much would a job like that pay? I'll be happy to play here in 20 years, you know? It's a good, keeps me off the streets and out of trouble.
And artists, even the ones married with kids, are absolute maniacs, fanatics, doing it for artistic reasons. And hey, you've got to put something more than a piece of celery in your child's mouth, but you don't care. You're living for your art. It's not because they want to be an artist, they have to be.
It is very much for me a labor of love to a certain degree. It's a business, and I really try to run it as a good business. There are limitations with what we do, but everyone's getting paid, everyone's sustaining, and there's lots of great stuff going on here. So I feel that we are rich in other ways, other than monetarily.